Hello, everybody. I'm your lovely host, Toast, and welcome to a new show, the Crumb Scale, which is a movie review series that I'm going to be doing here on this second channel because I wanted to, and also because personal reasons. And another thing, I've been requested to do movie reviews, so this is kind of this is a great way to have an excuse to do something while I'm kind of going through some stuff. Yeah. Today's film, we will be talking about Kraven the Hunter, Sony's most recent attempt to make a Spider-Man villain his own movie. Before we get into the full film review sort of thing, though, let me explain how this show is going to work. So, the Crumb Scale is a show somewhat similar to, if you know him, Moist Critical. He has his Moist Meter show. It's going to be kind of similar to that. Not really much shown, more just speaking about my personal experience with the movie and my opinions. So, at the end of the video, I will be giving a score between 1 and 100. 1 being this film should have never happened. It is a disgrace to cinema, and I actually felt physically hurt while watching this movie. Or you get 100, which is peak, holy peak movie. But yeah, so that is basically how the show's gonna work. And let's get into Kraven. This film, let me just say, this film was an attempt. As a movie on its own about a person with animal powers, I think it could have worked. It was fun. Don't get me wrong, it was fun when I looked at it as not Kraven the Hunter from Marvel Comics. But when you look at it as a Kraven movie, it is bad. It's I can't really describe how bad it was actually. I'm at a loss for words at how just awful this movie was. Um, First off, to explain one downside to this movie, it is part of Sony's insistence on making movies about Spider-Man villains without Spider-Man. And the thing is, a lot of people used to have the excuse, oh, it's because the MCU is using Spider-Man and they want to do their own thing. It has recently come out that they weren't not allowed to use Spider-Man the entire time this universe has been going on. This was like just announced not too long ago that they have been able to use Spider-Man. Not just the MCU Spider-Man, but they still have Toby and Andrew. So they could have used any of those 3 Spider-Men for these movies, and it probably would have benefited them more than it lost them. But then again, knowing Sony as of late with these movies, they're not smart with their decisions. Um, like, for example, Sony keeps insisting that Morbius was financially successful for them, but it wasn't. And neither will Craven, because this has apparently, as of right now, it might make a bit more. As of right now, this film is the lowest grossing Sony Spider-Man villain universe thing. Like, it's the lowest earned movie out of all of them. Even lower than Madam Web, which is believed to be probably the worst movie to come out of this franchise, we'll say. It's good things about the film. Like I said, when you ignore its Craven, it is a fantastic, like, what I like to call, and apparently a lot of people others like call this, um a good popcorn movie where you just go for the popcorn and to shut your brain off and watch a movie. But when you actually look into it, it is kind of silly. Another thing, on the Marvel side, there were some upsides. At the end of the movie, uh, I'll put a spoiler warning here. Well, I'm saying it, so uh, as Marvel, at the end they showed Kraven wearing an outfit very similar to his comic outfit, and it looked really good. I honestly kind of wish that the movie was good so I could see this design again. Um, Another upside, we finally get to see the chameleon in live action. Uh, only for the very end though, and just like the Amazing Spider-Man 2 sets up a bigger scene, like a bigger universe and like bigger things at play, but it will never go anywhere because Sony literally announced that with the failure of Kraven, this universe is canceled. So we will not be seeing Venom or the Sinister Six ever again, which I am kind of upset at because the original Venom movie and the sequel, in my opinion, were fun. I love those movies. But then after Morbius came out, which I did see and thought was, it was just a snooze fest and went downhill. So I'm really hoping that one day they wake up and realize they need to just let go of Spider-Man. Because another unfortunate thing they announced, which I mean, I say unfortunate, but is what's kind of good moving forward. They are gonna start making Spider-Man projects without the MCU Spider-Man. Like they're gonna get a new actor, which they should have done ages ago. In my opinion, they should just go back to Andrew Garfield, but you know, I'm not the dude behind Sony, so we'll see where that goes. Maybe we'll finally get a good Spider-Man film that isn't. I will not say that, judging by who I know is listening to this. Uh, just I'm hoping it goes good for them. I'm also excited to see Beyond the Spider Verse. So Sony, good luck with that. Even though you haven't recorded like any voice lines for it, and it's supposedly coming out next year. So yeah. Um, Bad things about the movie. It's a snooze fest for a lot of it. Looking at the character of Kraven, which I am obsessed with this character. I'm a big Kraven fan, both from the comics and recently. I say recently, but it's like beginning of the year. Uh, Actually, no, that was last year. Actually, last year, Spider-Man 2 by Insomniac Games had the best rendition of Kraven in my eyes. So they kind of set the bar for me moving forward with Kraven, and this movie didn't reach close to it because for one, Kraven doesn't have an accent in this, which kind of sucks since he's known for being this crazed Russian maniac who's obsessed with hunting and is always looking for a trophy, and in most of the cases is trying to lose, but he keeps winning. Um, he doesn't have his accent. The actor, even though he looked good in moments, especially in the last one, could have maybe been a bit bulked up. Like I'm not saying like he should have forced himself to get like more beefy. Like I'm just saying they probably should have beefed him up in like post or something. But he did not have the Craven build from the comics or even Insomniac. But I don't think anyone could have Insomniac Craven's build. uh, Another thing, his relationship with his family is weird. So I can only speak off of the Insomniac game Kraven for this one since I haven't looked into Kraven's family in the comics for a bit. From what I know, Kraven kills his family. Like he is not afraid to kill them, and he doesn't really value like protecting them. But in this movie, he really is obsessed with protecting his little brother, who's the chameleon. Um, which I don't get, because going by Insomniac games on this one, he kills his kids in that game. Uh, I mean, to be fair, they're trying to kill him. But in this, no, no, wait, there's one. There's one kid that gets killed because like he was just too weak. Like and he didn't really want to fight. So I don't really get why he wanted to protect his brother in this. Um Another thing, his relationship with his father is certainly something. It's it's there. I won't dive into it in case I'm not speaking with 100% like knowledge on the subject. Um Rhino makes his first live action appearance since The Amazing Spider-Man 2 from like ages ago. Um I mean, the character outside of when he's the Rhino at like the end of the movie, like at the climax, sucks. I don't like him. He wasn't fun. He in fact creeped me out, which I mean probably was the goal all along, but in I mean like he creeped me out in the sense that I did not want him to be on screen like at all. Not in the sense that ooh, this is like a good creeping me out like some horror movies have done to me. No, it's just I felt disgusted whenever he was on and he made me uncomfortable. When he was the Rhino though, it was a lot better. His voice was perfect for Rhino in my opinion, but his design just kind of lacked in some departments. For one, the lower half being covered in like pants and all that, and like he still had his shoes on. I didn't like. It felt weird. Um, but the rest of his body looked great. I just wish, I really wish to make it just ever so slightly more comic accurate, his face stayed the same. If his face would have stayed human and like he lost the pants, he would have looked perfect. Like the perfect Rhino. The best way to like modernize the classic design that isn't just making the suit like a metal suit. And I would have loved it so much more, but in the end, I was very disappointed with the Rhino's appearance. And also, he dies. So, if they were planning to make a Spider Man for this universe, that would have been kind of upsetting to never have the Rhino show up because he dies to Kraven before like Spider Man is even like going around. Um, Also, there was a this character. I can't remember her name. I probably would if the name wasn't like said so weirdly in the movie. Because every time they said her name, it was so like it felt so added in. Like it felt like a fan fiction where it's like this super realistic setting, and then you just have like Goku show up out of nowhere with this name that just doesn't fit in at all. And I was just sitting there like, what? And that's probably why I don't remember her name, because every time they said it, it confused me like a ton. Um, she's apparently important to the movie. Uh, she saves Craven's life, which is awesome. But you kind of don't see her until like Craven kills a dude that killed her friend, and he goes and hunts her down and is like, "Hey, I what if I told you I killed that person that like killed your friend?" And she's like, "Oh, well, huh." And then he's trying to like get her to tell him names so that he can go kill criminals to protect people, but that's not who Craven is. He just kills people for sport. She for some reason is like, I'll think about this, which no reasonable person should ever like have a murderer walk up to them and their first thought be, I'll think about your offer. um when that criminal like murderer is like, hey, you want to help, and they're like, all right. Later in the movie she just kind of fully accepts it. When his brother gets kidnapped, she's like, all right, I'll help you. So After a while, she kind of like gets hunted down by the Rhino's men. He's like a mafia boss in this or something. So Craven like steals her and takes her to like his home in the mountains that apparently his mother owned, and he's like, "Hey, like we gotta find my brother," and she's like, "Don't worry, we'll find him." And she just kind of like opens his weapons rack and like starts messing with stuff. And apparently, like she says she's good with a bow, which is like okay, cool for you. And later, like Craven's about to like die because oh, what was his name? Oh, I can't remember his name, but he had a really cool power. I really liked him. I wish he was involved with the movie more. He was like a detective, and his ability was like when he started counting, time slowed or something, or like people's mental like effects were like paused. But it was cool. I liked it. I really wish he didn't get an arrow through the skull. And the reason why I bring this up is because she's the one that shoots the arrow, and the preceding minute worth of film is one of the most cringe things I've heard. Uh, well, not even just Marvel. This is like Sony. Marvel and Sony are getting very comfortable with f bombs in their films, and she proceeds to drop three for no reason. It felt like something that Vivzy Pop would like write. They were added in for no reason, and she even says heroes don't die, which I laughed at because it just reminded me of stupid Overwatch. So there was that, and yeah, it was. The movie ends setting up, like I said earlier, it sets up for more. Because Kraven was supposed to be in the Sinister Six movie cast where they would fight Null, but that is no longer happening. So this movie has an ending that sets up nothing, and there are no post-credit scenes, which in this case I'm kind of upset about because I am one of those people that is obsessed with films that set up stuff in post-credit scenes that lead to nowhere, like Black Adam with Black Adam versus Superman. So now that I've kind of ranted about this film for a bit, uh, and I've kind of gone over my time limit that I set for myself, which was going to be 15 minutes, uh, on the Crumb scale for this movie, I am going to have to, unfortunately, give this movie a 30, a 30 on the Crumb scale. Purely because of the fact it was a Craven movie that was supposed to lead to more. This movie butchered the character and honestly was kind of like a snooze fest at moments. So, will that score change one day in the future when I see a worse film? Maybe, but as of right now, it is sticking with the 30. I am sorry to everyone who worked on this film. I hope you have a better future in cinema. Please just never do this again. If you were forced by the studio to make some of the decisions you had to, please just go work on better movies with other studios. Like honestly, you guys have potential. So yeah, thank you for listening to my stupid rant about a film I saw not too long ago. Next episode I will be reviewing Wicked, which I also saw. So yeah, stay tuned for that. It'll probably come out tomorrow since I plan on releasing these in a daily format for a short bit. So yeah, thank you. You don't need to really subscribe to this channel since it's a side channel, but if you wanted to, go ahead. But that's all I got to say. Bye-bye.